Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More, and I'm standing outside a rental property I've had vacant way too long. We're going to talk about why it's been vacant, what we can do to fix that, what our plans are for the property, and some of the remodeling we've done too, because one of the big reasons it's been vacant is it flooded. So we've had some other issues as well, and me kind of trying to decide what to do with it. This caused delays too, but I think we've come up with some decisions, some plans, and we'll go over that and show you what it looks like now. And it's almost done, really close to being done. So we're gonna look through it, see if there's anything else we need to do before we do what we plan to do. And I like to always hear from the audience and see, hey, what do you think might need to be done? Because sometimes you really do see things that I don't see on camera. And I've had many people on YouTube point out, hey, did you see that? Light switch wasn't on, right or square. Like, nope, I totally missed it. So it's kind of cool to have another set of eyes, look at the property and see a few things, see things we miss. All right, of course, check out investormore.com for much more information on our flips, rentals, being an agent, all that great stuff. Still working on my new book. That should be coming out here soon, and have 9 others on Amazon. And let's take a look at this property. Here is the house, but real quick, I thought I messed up my truck really good the other day. I was driving by a dumpster too close, and I heard a bang, and I hit the dumpster, and I thought I had hit part of it with my truck. And I walked back here to think, oh my God, what did I do? Well, luckily, I just hit the tire. Some of the pink from the dumpster rubbed off on my tire, but for a second there, I was pretty worried I had seriously damaged my car. And I've done stupid things like that before, like with my wife's Mercedes SUV. I backed into a telephone pole at a job site once. I don't know if I told anybody that. Luckily, we got it fixed. That was like a week before we turned it in for the lease being done. But we got it fixed and turned in. I don't lease cars anymore. I always buy everything. But yeah, that's a fun experience. First thing I saw when I walked up here was this trim obviously needs painted. Our mailbox is pretty ugly. Obviously could use a good cleaning on the outside. But the outside's brick, which is nice. So that helps. But just a few, ooh, that's a beautiful butterfly wind chime. Oof. Just a few things. Oh, that light bulb is definitely burned out right there. And I'm being dripped on from the gutter. So the gutters are either full or need a little bit of work. So a few things there to work on and figure out. All right, so I talked about this house has been vacant for too long. And I can't remember exactly how long it's been. I could look back to my first video I did of this. When it became vacant, it was trashed a little bit. It wasn't destroyed, but trashed. They left a lot of trash, a lot of stuff. Wasn't very nice. And so we came through and cleaned it up. And while we were working on it, the contractors had taken out the dishwasher over there, and overnight, the hose valve broke that was connected to the main plumbing line under the sink, I believe, and flooded the whole house. So there was inches of water in the basement, dripping from the ceiling all over the place. I'll link to that video below as well. But that really set us back because we were almost done with this house and there was water everywhere. So we had to come back through and redo a lot of it, tear out lots of drywall, lots of sheetrock, redid all the floors. And luckily the basement didn't have carpet put in yet, because that would have been even worse, but this did have hardwood all throughout it, and all of it was warped and destroyed. So we took it all out, put in the vinyl, and it actually kind of looks better than the hardwood did almost, because the hardwood was the light oak. It was okay, but it had like a weird lip that stuck up around the door and some vinyl there, so it kind of looks better with just one floor going through it. And the other thing, when we pulled up the hardwood, there were pieces of subfloor that were basically breaking if you stepped on them. They weren't supported right. And if you put all your weight on one spot, your foot might fall through the floor. So it was kind of good that we found that as well, because you come through, I think we just redid one layer of subfloor all over this, which actually leveled it out with this floor that was higher, and now you won't fall through the floor. So sometimes it's good that things like that happen. It costs us more money, but our insurance, I think, paid us about $21,000 from that flood, which should have covered pretty much all our costs, maybe even a little more to do all this. So there was good and bad things from the flood that happened. Now you can see the carpet is not in yet, so we're almost done. The paint's done, pretty much everything else is done except the carpet. So if you see things that don't look right, let me know. I'm not a huge fan of glass doors on closets, but for what we're gonna do, it's probably okay, because I have decided to keep this one as a rental. So I've been talking about selling or keeping a few of my rentals now. I bought 16 rental properties from 2010 to 2015 here in Colorado. And then after 2015, I took a small break because it was hard to cash flow on properties. Then in 2017, I started buying commercial properties. We bought another, 20 plus commercial properties since then. So with some of my residential properties, I've been selling them, either taking the money and using for our flips or other stuff, or 1031 exchanging them and buying bigger commercial properties. So I love commercial properties, love that side of it, but I still enjoy the residential properties. And what I've been doing is kind of selling the residential properties I don't like as much and keeping the ones I do like. And I also have had a goal to create a lot more passive income this year. And selling rentals doesn't create much passive income, but keeping them and renting them does. So for this one, I have decided to keep it. I'm gonna keep it, re-rent it, and I should have made that decision a lot longer ago, would have saved me a bunch of money, but in the long run, I think it'll be okay. And that's something else I want to talk about in this video as well, is how much it costs to keep a vacant property, and having one sit vacant here isn't the best financial plan, but I also wanted to make sure I was making the right decision as far as selling, renting, because I bought this property in, I believe it was 2014 or 13 for $109,000, and it's probably worth $400,000 right now. So I think we refinanced it once at one point, but there is a lot of equity in this property. So that's kind of what I'm like, trying to decide, should I keep it and rent it out, or should we sell it? Now, if I were to rent it out, we could probably rent it for, the tub's pretty ugly. I don't know if that'll clean up, so that's something to think about. But we could probably rent this out for $1,900, $2,000 a month right now. Again, that tile is pretty ugly, but as a rental, it's not that big of a deal. If we're selling it, that's something we probably would need to fix. So that's something to consider too, is, when you decide to flip or sell or keep, that can decide some of your design choices as well on what you'll do, what you won't do. When you're flipping a house, selling it, you often need to go much more in depth on the remodel than if you're renting it. When people are buying houses, they're much more involved in the purchase. They're going to be keeping it. They're spending a whole lot of money on purchasing a property. Whereas when they're renting it, they know it's probably a short-term thing. Yes, they have their deposit and they're paying rent, but they're not tied into the property as much as they are as they're buying it. So often you can get away with, not renting unsafe houses or houses that are junk, but they don't have to be, all redone, completely remodeled, all perfect to sell. And as you know, a lot of you who follow me too, not all our flips are absolutely perfect either, but we do try to make them nice. And I'm just seeing right here, this window is broken. So that might be something we look at and try and figure out as well. All right, so down here in this basement, this whole ceiling was dripping water. This vent was dripping water, and there was an inch or two of water on the floor. So we had to come through, suck all the water out, had tons of fans, dehumidifiers down here. We cut out all the wet drywall, poked holes in the other drywall that wasn't wet. There was wood paneling all along here. We tore all that out, ripped that all out. Most of this is new sheetrock. This is all new sheetrock, and we're just trying to figure out, there's no mold smell, right? Have a moisture meter. There's no moisture in the walls anymore. There's no signs of water. So we should be good. Everything should be fine. But it's always nice to be able to come in a room like this right here that has unfinished walls, and you can peek down here. That's where the water would have been, and the drywall sheetrock will suck up the water. So if there's water on the ground, you'll see stains on the sheetrock, and that's where you would most likely see the mold. It's on the inside of the sheetrock, kind of behind the walls, because you can paint over mold. Eventually it might come through, but I've seen properties where mold was hidden and you could not see it on the outside, but it's on the inside of the walls. So this is a really good place to check and see, hey, is there any signs of water damage, any mold growing? And you can see it looks really clear. You can see right there, that's where we drilled holes. And so if you see holes drilled in the bottom of sheetrock, like underneath the trim, there's a good chance it had flooded and they drilled those holes to try and dry things out. Right there is, it almost looks like mold. It's cobwebs. So pretty good there. So I think we're okay as far as the mold, water damage, anything that was wet's been replaced. And we let it dry out for a long time too. Just let it sit here for a couple months. And a lot of times you can smell the mold. I can't smell anything, which is a good sign. And after it did happen and we let kind of things dry out and we thought we were good, I could still smell mold, and we went through and looked at it closer, and we did find some areas where not quite enough sheetrock had been cut out. There were some spots that had some mold, came back through, had more sheetrock cut out just to make sure we're getting everything. So now I think everything's good. House should be good to go. So got sidetracked about all the water down here, but I was talking about the investment side of it, and as far as keeping it as a rental versus a flip. I think my payment on this is about $900 a month because we did refinance it at one point over the years. Took the money out of the refinance to buy more rental properties. I did that quite a bit. So I owe $150,000 on it, something like that. It's worth $400,000. So I have a ton of equity. I won't make a huge return on my equity by renting it out for $2,000 a month, but it'll still produce pretty good cash flow. And I think the property still has the potential to keep going up in value, which is great too. Now, like I said, I'm trying to build up more cash flow. So I like this rental. I like where it's at. It's pretty close to where I went to elementary school, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to keep this one, keep renting it out. Another thing I said I'd talk about, which I've been very slow getting to, is how much it costs to keep a vacant rental. So I said our payment's like $900 a month. And some people think, oh, my property's vacant. You know, it cost me $900 a month to have this property vacant. But that's not really true. This wall was horrible, by the way. Water is pouring down it. We redid all the sheetrock. And this bathroom is where we had water draining into the toilet drain to get it out of here. Oh, we still need our plumber. I don't know if we knew that or not. So see, that's why we do these walkthroughs. But it's not just your mortgage payment that you're paying when a property is vacant. Oh, and that's very ugly down there. That is really ugly. I don't know if that's going to clean up either. We might need a new door. Or even, I don't know. Well, I'll have to consult with my project manager on that one, see what we do there. But not just your mortgage payment. You also have utilities, right? While I own this property and all the lights are on that you can see right now, although we don't have them on all the time, we're paying for that. We're paying for the furnace, we're paying for the gas, paying for water, paying for sewer. There's quite a bit of utilities you have while you own a property. It might be $200, $300 a month in utilities while you own this property. So that's something to consider. And then the other thing to consider is it's not just what it costs you to own, it's the opportunity cost as well. So while it costs me $1,200 a month to own this property and sit on it, if I could rent it out for $2,000 a month and they're paying utilities, which is another $200, $300 a month, I'm actually missing out on $2,300 a month by keeping this property vacant. Now I might have some property management fees, although we brought all that in-house. There's still some costs for staff and stuff. So maybe it's not all of the $2,300, maybe $2,100, $2,150. That's what it really cost me to have this house vacant. So it's not good to have properties sitting vacant for a long time. So that's something I really want to focus on this year. Get all our rental properties rented as fast as we can. We have another vacant rental we're going to get fixed up here real quick, get it back on the market. And then we got some commercial properties we're working really hard to get rented as well. And sadly, I might sell a couple of my big vacant properties as well. Mostly the ones that are far away from me and we can't focus on. And it's just, I have too many things going on to focus on them. And so I might sell a couple of them. I think we're still gonna make money on them and do just fine, but it won't be as much of a drag on my passive income because it's great to have rent coming in. That creates passive income. The vacant properties decrease that passive income because you've got the cost, the taxes, the insurance, and if there's a mortgage on it, those payments as well to worry about. All right, so that's the house. Have carpet coming in. It should be scheduled soon. The carpet guy has been booked out a ways, so that's why a lot of times we have carpet put in sooner than maybe you think it should be. It's because he gets booked out and we don't want to be waiting on him like we are right now, so we try and book them ahead of time. A few other minor things that need to be done. If you see anything else, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We'll get this one finished up, rented, get the next rental property finished up, rented, keep working on our flips, keep working on the complex, keep working on the Ocho. We have the new grocery store and liquor store that we're working on. So a lot going on. So if you haven't subscribed, we love to see new subscribers. Love it when you like our videos. Love seeing comments come in. Keep those coming. And like I said, Invest for More has a ton more information on flips, rentals, being an agent, all that great stuff. A free book on there as well. And we'll be back. I'll be back coming up here soon.